If you're very visual in nature, then you start off with doing something like this very likely. Your universe is centered at 150. And every step that you take away from that accounts for an additional 24 units. And if you came back 1 unit, that would account for a 24 unit distance in there. So in other words, what they're telling you is the standard deviation value is 24. That's the size of your step. Now they've literally asked you how many standard deviations that you've gone away from that value of 150 in the middle, or how many steps you took to get to that particular point. So you can do the visual approach, which would say, well, if I added 24 to that, then that's put me at a value that's going to be 174. And if I took another full step, that would be another 24 units on the top of that, which would put me at 198. Say, wait a second, I went too far. I wanted to be at 180. So we come back visually and say, okay, well, if you wanted to be at 180, you're in here somewhere. So you know that you took 1 full step right here. A full step, a full standard deviation. And we took part of a step. So the question is, what parts of a full step gets me to 180? Well, if you're currently at 174, you need 6 units of a 24 unit step. And 6 out of 24 turns out to be a 1/4. Very likely, if they're going to give you a fractional value, it's going to be a nice half, or it'll convert to a nice decimal you won't have to round off. So that would mean it would give you like 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, something like that. So you took 1 full step, 1 full standard deviation, plus another 1/4 of a standard deviation. So your positional value right here, your z-score, the number of standard deviations is 1.25 or 1 1/4. And they'll probably ask you to do a decimal there or a whole number. So if they're going to give you a decimal, then they're telling you that it's probably not going to have to round off. That's the pictorial way of doing it. Now, I ignored completely the left-hand side of the grid because I wasn't going backwards in the problem. But if it were backwards, it'd be the same thing. I just count the number of steps that I take. A second way, which is maybe a little bit more efficient, but not any better or worse, it just depends upon how comfortable you are, is saying, if I started at 150 and I ended at 180, I've covered 30 units. And then how many standard deviations, standard size steps are in 30 units. So you're taking 30 now and you're dividing it by the 24. Because a standard size step is 24 units, and that again is something that the calculator can give us without a great deal of difficulty. I take 30 and I divide it by 24, and I get the beam me up Scotty approach. I get there directly without having to go through the individual steps. That's like driving from here to Baton Rouge on the interstate. You go past lots of exchanges. You drive on 190, you got to slow down for Albany, you got to slow down for Holden.